Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode 97. I'm Emily McDermott, and I am here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. I don't know about you, but I have often found myself in cycles of overwhelm where I'm constantly feeling behind and then feeling burnt out and exhausted because of it. And oftentimes it feels difficult and nearly impossible to make the changes that we need in order to change the situation. So today I am sharing my 6-step S.I.M.P.L.E method to help you, and each of the letters is going to stand for a step because I love my acronyms, right? And I hope that this will help you, that you can start making small, sustainable changes in an area that might be overwhelming you, and we can start getting things out of our mind and out of our emotional state and be able to take concrete action. So with that in mind, what do you say? Grab your notebook and pen and let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do list running around in your head? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life and motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kid stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear off some counter space. Let's do this. Before we dive in, I just wanted to let you homeschooling mamas know that I'm going to be a part of a summit called Happily Homeschooling Littles with my friend Corbella Guy, and I have all the information in the show notes today, so make sure you check that out if you are a homeschooling mama, because I know we have several that listen to the show. Okay, we're going to jump into these 6 steps, starting with number 1, which is the letter S for simple, and that stands for stop so you can actually think and reflect. Now, I know for me, especially when I'm overwhelmed, I kind of more want to escape, either to my phone, maybe watching a show, but I don't think much about stopping so I can actually tackle the issue. And there really is power in the pause. You need to be able to find a place, maybe it's the bathroom, maybe it's your car during pickup while you're waiting, just somewhere where you can have 10 minutes of somewhat quiet, limited distractions, so you can think and then process things by writing things down. So find a place if you can. Enlist help if you need to. All you need is 10 or 15 minutes because we're just going to be working through kind of the first steps of how we're going to change things. And I know it's not realistic to have hours to yourself to do this kind of thing. So try to find a place, and we're going to start with those 10 minutes. And the second step is the letter I, which is to imagine the ideal scenario. So there's a part of the brain called the reticular activation system, and that is what makes things more concrete when we write them down. And so I highly recommend that we start looking at that ideal scenario and being able to kind of brainstorm what that might look like. Now, I'm going to use an example from my own life, which is that I have felt pretty scattered in my schedule. I was just kind of doing things without much forethought. And recently, I decided that I want to do my home management activities like grocery shopping and cleaning and laundry and food prep and that kind of stuff. And when I say laundry, yes, I still do daily laundry, but this is more like the sheets and the towels and the bath curtain and those types of things. And so I want to do those cleaning and house maintenance activities on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then do work activities Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if I were to write down what the ideal would be, I might say, okay, on Tuesday morning, I'm going to be at Costco when it opens, and then I'm going to make sure before that I put in a grocery order so that I can pick it up on the way home from Costco, then I have all of my groceries for the week on that Tuesday, and I don't have to go back out to the store again. So being able to write down what that ideal scenario is really important. And at the beginning, you don't want to think about, okay, well, this couldn't work because, or this couldn't work because. Let's just start with that ideal scenario. Because the third step, letter M, is to mind the gap between what is going on right now, what you want, and also looking at those things that might be unchanging or non-negotiable. For example, your pickup time at school for your kids, probably non-negotiable. Maybe you have a recurring appointment or your kids have recurring activities. And so those are kind of set in stone. But the question is, are you able to be creative about finding the resources that you need in order to do what you need to do? So in my example, I can start by putting boundaries around, okay, I can just have people sign up for podcast interviews or coaching calls on certain days, so I can put those boundaries there. But perhaps maybe I would need to enlist the help of my husband if there was something I wanted to do in the evening. So he could kind of help me out while I was doing some work in the evenings, or perhaps I could ask a friend to do like a childcare swap on a weekend so that I could have an hour on a Saturday to batch some podcast episode recordings, for example. So you want to be creative about, okay, what are the things I could do to find the resources I need in order to have things look more like my ideal rather than what they are right now. And we don't want to have any judgment here or kind of feel bad about how things are. We just really want to look at it as data and kind of see, okay, what are the tweaks that I can make? And as my coach, Steph Gass, always says, data over drama, right? We don't want to feel more overwhelmed or feel bad about ourselves. We just want to kind of look at the details of what we have and then be able to move forward. Okay, step number 4 for P is to plan one small change in one area. So one small change in one area. We're not changing everything to go from our current situation to our ideal in like one day, because that is not going to happen. So in my example, maybe I would start with that Tuesday morning routine of going to Costco when it opens, making sure that I put that grocery order in advance so I can pick it up on the way home, and test that out for a week and see kind of how that's going before I move on to the next thing. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves with the things that are required in order for us to change our situation. So we want to be very cognizant of having one small change in one area. And the 5th step is letter L, which is to let those affected by this change know why you're doing it and when you're doing it, and also if they're involved. So in this case, perhaps I realize that my husband, I'm going to have to ask him if I can go to the library to outline some podcast episodes on a Saturday. And so I want him to hang out with the boys and maybe take them to the playground. So I need to talk to him about this, make sure we agree on a time, and also explain why it is important, because I'm trying to change this thing that is not working for me in order for it to work for me. And so we need to make sure that those people that are involved are aware, and also they know what is expected of them, and to be patient with them, because as we're testing things out and they're also learning, we need to make sure we're not expecting that perfection right away. So we want to be patient with their progress as we all work together to make this change. Okay, and then the last step, letter E, is to execute your plan and enjoy the results. So we want to, again, test out how a piece of this is going for maybe a week, then maybe you can make a second change. So for me, maybe that would be that I'm able to tweak my workflow a little bit. So on my work days, I know exactly what I'm doing when it comes to podcast recordings and when. Or maybe I'm able to have a specific cleaning schedule and order of what I do when it comes to Tuesdays and Thursdays. So there's a little bit more structure around that. And you want to test, keep testing, and always know that you can tweak and make changes, because it's all a learning process. So let's go ahead and review that 6-step simple method. Letter S, stop so you can actually think and reflect. Letter I, imagine the ideal scenario. Letter M, mind the gap between what is and what you want things to be. Letter P, plan one small change in one area. Letter L, let those affected by this change know why you are doing it and when. And letter E, execute your plan and enjoy the results. I hope this was a helpful episode for you, and I would love it if you could come over to the free Facebook group at tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm and tell me how you are using the S.I.M.P.L.E method to change something that's been bothering you. On Thursday, we're going to be talking to Kirsten Vossler from the Rejoicing in Motherhood podcast, all about how we can shift from a victim and martyr mindset in motherhood and shift that to seeing motherhood as a calling rather than just another thing on our to-do list. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now. If you like today's podcast, here's what you can do. Just take 30 seconds to leave me a review. I know you're a busy mama. You're overwhelmed, in fact, but 30 seconds of your day makes such an impact. I'll be blessed by your words. They'll definitely make my day. And who knows, you might be entered for this month's giveaway. In Apple Podcasts, scroll down to write a review. Thanks so much for your time. I'm so grateful for you.